Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, and welcome to this week on War in the Webway. My name is Ollie, and as always, you know him, you love him. I'm joined by Alan. Say hello, Alan.
Hey, hello, everybody. Uh, and we're back
We're back.
on release day for the Imperial Agents.
Re- Release day?
Um,
Are we not late?
no, it's release day. We're like two
Ah,
weeks after pre-order day, isn't it?
oh, I thought
So
we
we were
came out last
like,
week. Yeah, we're back on release
no,
day.
no, 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 it came out today.
Ah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, this was definitely intentional.
this
Yeah,
wasn't planned like at all. No, release date was yesterday. Actually, I don't know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking about.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. So like, this is definitely not planned. This is just how it's just worked out.
Yeah, no, it's plans. It's master plans right here. That's what we do on War on the Webway. We plan it out meticulously. Right. We've been speaking about it for a couple of episodes about Imperial Agents. We all know that you love including some Imperial Agents, and you were quite excited for the codex. We're going to go into a dive in terms of some of the data sheets, what we're thinking, blah blah blah. Not necessarily a deep dive of the codex itself. So it's not going to be a stratagem lookout or the detachment lookups because we're not playing Imperial Agents. It's purely a what are we thinking about adding into the custodians list. But initial thoughts from you, just a high level view. Are you happy with the codex? Are you happy with the data sheets, or are you kind of, is it what you wanted it to be for a custodians player?
It's a great question, and the answer is I'm looking at it, and initially I had some real disappointment. Real
Mm.
disappointment. I mean, I guess I can see possible, really cheeky things we can add into our lists and build. But I was looking at it and I was like, oh, they've done some really good things, and we'll touch on those for certain data sheets. But in general, they've just dropped the bomb. You know,
Interesting.
beyond belief, in my opinion. But what about yours? What's your take on it?
Um, I think, and we'll do it in more detail. I think the assassins are way more interesting. I think people will definitely playing not just the Calidus. Um, I'm not sure on the retinue units. They weren't massively popular beforehand, and I'm still not going to be 100% certain if people will be looking at them. We'll talk about those. Um, I'm disappointed about Draxus, but probably the opposite reason why you might have feelings on it. Because to me, Draxus is such an auto take for Custodes, and you've been taking her for, we spoke about it before, well over a year now. And looking at the data sheet, she's still an auto take. So there isn't a decision there. She fills in one of the slots, and so I think they are interesting. I don't know if I'm playing a lot of Imperial Agents, but I'll still be taking Draxus and probably an Assassin.
Yeah, I think quite at a high level, those two character slots
Yeah.
are really competitive
So just
in
to get
terms
into
of.
that, so the way Imperial Agents work in terms of an Imperium army is you get two characters and two retinue units, and those retinue units are everything from subjugator squads to Death Watch vets, and then the characters are all the characters. So sorry, but yeah, I agree. The character slots are very competitive, and if Draxus takes up one of those as
Yeah, I
auto,
mean, there is an argument that if you're not going shield host, then Draxus might not be an auto take.
interesting.
And you would potentially go into Cotiers
Okay,
for being an auto take.
you know what? This is a great
Um,
segue because Draxus is up first. So
oh, is it really?
yeah, so there you go. Draxus is now.
You can tell that Ollie planned this.
It's all part of the master plan. So Draxus is up first. So let's go into the high levels of what might change, and then let's go into what the thought process you were just going through there. So at the high level stats, and please correct me if I'm wrong because you'll know her way better. She hasn't massively changed. She's lost the indirect, but that appears to be it. She still
Yeah,
does.
that's literally it.
That is it, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. So anyone who's not, I'm sure you do know what you know. If you've listened to us before, we harp on about it quite a lot. But and a lot of the other channels that talk about Imperium or whatever talk about them a lot. But The reason Draxus is so competitive is that when you add her to a squad, the Custodian Guard squad, she gets their reroll wounds and she gets the ability to shoot twice once a game.
Yes.
You then layer that with her Dire Singer, which is anti-infantry, assault, dev wounds. Now, for anyone listening, and we've had a few comments saying, "I'm new. Can you go in a bit more detail on certain things?"
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime you have an anti-infantry or
Dev wounds.
anti-anything, that result of the dice then means that you've rolled a critical wound. So if it's anti-infantry 4+, and you roll a 4 and you're targeting infantry, it counts as a 6 basically. Now when you layer that with dev wounds, it means that any roll of a 4+ gives you dev wounds.
Yes.
Um, she's hitting on 3s with. She's got 4 shots. She's hitting on 3s. You can layer that with sustained 1 for a CP.
Yep.
And what's really interesting, is that when you shoot twice, you get 8 shots if you're shooting into Xenos +1, hitting on 3s or 2s if you're into Xenos, and then you've got your 4 rerolls to wound, and every wound that goes through is 2 dev, which is mortals. So you can absolutely smash out some pain on this one. And what's even better is that Blood Angels are now going to be just insane.
Yeah.
And she is a direct counter to Blood Angels in as far as she can be. Because she's 2 damage, and she ignores their Armour of Contempt. She's not going to ignore any minus damage or feel no pains, but she's going to cut through. So say for example, there's this thing where they were talking about Sanguinary Guard in cover with AOC, Armour of Contempt.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, she doesn't care.
Yep.
So that's why she's very, very critical for us, and she's only critical when she's with a Custodian Guard squad.
And also, let's not forget, she's still got assault, right? So she's running up alongside all the assault Custodian Guard, getting on an objective, re-rolling all your wounds. So on average, that's 4, 8, 6 hits, re-rolling all wounds. So 3, 4, maybe even 5 dev wounds. It's a huge number. So if you've got no mortal wound protection, she by herself is a huge number.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the thing is with her, she still obviously means that if you you can stop your unit being targeted, right? On a 2+. When you layer those two things together, you normally find because of how kind of like busy the boards are at the moment, how line of sight blocking they are, you normally find that it's relatively easy to stop her being shot by vehicles. And so all of a sudden they have to throw units closer towards her to get in shooting or to try and get her in combat. And then all of a sudden you've got your wardens that can heroically intervene, or you've got your...
And she's still being protected by 5 guard bodies.
Or 4. I went with 4, but yeah.
But she still has the Custodian Guard T6 2 up, 4 up bodies. And if they try and, the way to get rid of Draxus is precision. You'd have to precision her out, because she's just absolutely terrifying.
Interesting thought here.
Yeah.
Interesting thought. The ability which means she can't be targeted is called Psychic Veil.
Yep.
Does that mean that the Vindicare Assassin doesn't ignore it because it's not lone operative?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, again, we can get to that.
Because if you know the answer, put it in comments.
Yeah, because just again to elaborate on people who aren't as familiar with the codex, the Vindicare Assassin actually actively states in the ability that he ignores lone operative, and lone operative means you can't be targeted unless you're within 18 inches. So Psychic Veil does the same thing as lone operative, but as Games Workshop have always done, it has a different name, and therefore, rules as written, I would imagine the Vindicare can't target her, which would be fascinating.
Same with the Nurgle strat, right?
Yeah. Okay, so is the loss of indirect massive for you?
No, it's big. It's big.
But it doesn't change
because
how
it was
you
always. No, no, no. It was big. It was always one of those things where I'd always line it up, and then I'd always think, "Oh, I'm going to do some damage here," and I'd only ever get one or two through. So it's not. And had no AP, and if you're shooting something with a four up save, all of a sudden they've got 3 ups. So it's not, it's not the end of the world.
Okay, and so I've seen your list. I'm not going to go too much into a list for an upcoming tournament, but Draxus is in it still, right? You still rate her. You still want to bring her.
If you haven't played with Draxus and you're a Custodes player,
Get Draxus.
try it. If you haven't got the model, just
Proxy it.
proxy in a sister or something, I don't know, and just try it.
She's 95 points now, isn't she?
Yeah, so she's gone up 10. I think her with the package now is 275 because you've got 180 for the Custodian Guard with 4, and then you've got her, so 275. It's still very much worth it.
Absolutely,
but
and
it's starting to get towards the upper end of where I'm comfortable.
Really, because I still think 95 is incredible for her. She gets grenades, which is fantastic. Yeah, I wanted to see more done to her, where like just something where she doesn't benefit
from a nerf point of view. Or?
Yeah, from a nerf point of view.
Did you want to see nerfed?
Just a little bit. So something like where she doesn't get the reroll, shoot twice from Custodian Guard, like something in there, because she's just an auto take, and auto takes are boring for me. I'd rather build it like around that list. But there's you have to take Draxus. You just do. And she's the only in Custodian. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. She's quite good in AdMech, but the reason I think Draxus, if you were to nerf Draxus, it would massively hit us, not necessarily at an army level, but like at a really high level competitive level, because she, where you're looking at, the best Custodes players trying to get the best faction win rate we possibly can or whatever. That's where it would hit us more than, say, for example, if you were just walking up to your mate's house.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a bit of a tough one, because then it is probably not working as intended within Custodes. And I think that's probably the case with all of them, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to be on a Custodes podcast with Custodes focus and say this unit's too good for Custodes, but it's how I feel, because I'd rather have more. Oh, that's interesting, and that's interesting. And to be fair to yourself, you have tried to play around the other Inquisitors before, but you've always had Draxus in there as well, and Draxus is she's just so good. She's so good.
Codex was going to replace Draxus, to be honest, but after this latest change,
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Gee, I sit there and do all the damn the window captures, and Alan just runs straight through everything I've got. Oh, the Vincast does this, and Codex does that. Right, let's move on.
Sorry.
To Greyfax. Greyfax is next. Codex is after. So,
Greyfax. Okay.
Quickly through Greyfax. Greyfax was an interesting one before, because she used to have was it you couldn't fall back from her thing? What was the thing she used to have?
You could, but it was like
you had to do a desperate escape.
on a one or two, you had to do a desperate escape, and they died on a 1 or 2, and if they were battle shocked, it was 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. So that ability is now changed, right? So that ability is now called No Mercy, which is why the model's leading the unit. Each time a model makes an attack, targets a unit below half strength, add 1 to the hit roll. That's a low key. That's a big nerf. That's a big key nerf. When she first came out, I was like, oh, she doesn't look too bad. And you pointed out that no, actually, what she had before was so much better. And I had the old app up, and I was reading it. I was like, oh crap! Yeah, actually, that is a low key nerf. Can you see any time to use Greyfax now?
You can kind of see in their mind the new balance, the high level competitive balance team at Games Workshop. You can kind of see what they were thinking. 95 points for Draxus, 95 points for Codex, 65 for Greyfax, because she's dog shit.
She can still snipe out characters, right? So
yes, she's not dog shit. That was kind of probably unfair. she's she can snipe out characters, and especially psychic characters.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I've got with her is that if you're into a non-psychic army, which in our meta, we've got a few Grey Knights, we've got a few Thousand Suns, a couple of demons.
But it's not.
Outside of that,
Yeah.
exactly. Outside of that, it's a smattering, right? Then you kind of you pay the tax not only for Greyfax but the 180 points that goes with it, and you're probably running at 225 to be honest, because you're looking at 5 guard with her as well, not 4, because you want to take benefit of the other ability, which is she gives her unit in shooting
Yep.
anti-psycho 4+. So you're probably running her with 5 guard or with spears. And again, that's 2. If you run into Tau, for example, or Dark
Yep.
Elder,
Yeah.
yes, she may snipe out an Archon or something, but they're coming out of vehicles that she's not going to do much, and you're paying a lot of points for that package. In and of herself, she's probably alright. If you put her with, say, someone, she's probably alright. But when you add the fact that you've got to put her with a big, heavy unit, which is more points than most other armies' elite choices, and it's a standard guard unit for us, then all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, it's a bit on the expensive side. I mean, do you agree on that? It's more expensive than a whole. You love you accursed.
Yeah.
It's more expensive than a whole blob of that with a dark commune.
It is, and this is what I was going to say. So the main character in the accursed unit has 4 wounds. The anti-psychic does kick off in the accursed unit because we get the psychic keyword because of the damn brain whatever. So you have a good chance of sniping out my main character, but if you go into a Space Marine character with 5 wounds, you need the double shoot, you need the rerolls just to be able to almost get it, and you only get the double shoot once. So once you pick up a character for 65 points, she's not bad in combat, she's not bad with a guard squad. I think 65 points is fair. I quite like her to do something that nothing else can do, which is precision at range in the Custodes army. To be able to look at something and go, yep, kill the character, guard squad can charge in. But realistically, if guard squad is getting a charge on something, because it's within 18, right? So if the guard squad are getting the charge, they're probably going to wipe out what they're going to be charging anyway. I want to see her on the table. I want to see her on the table. I want to see what she does on the table.
She'll be alright in something like a... I can't believe I'm saying this, like a null-maintenance list, where she's with a load of Bolter sisters, because she'll give them anti-psycho 4+. And they're dev wounds into psychos, I think. So, yeah, it's a tough one, but at the same point, I don't see a place for her in a competitive list.
I was going to say, if we go back to what you said, and what I completely agree with at first, which is the character slot is so important and so competitive, she just doesn't see it looking. If you're taking Draxus and then you're looking at an assassin, one of the assassins, you're not looking at Greyfax. It's a pity. I love the model. It's one of my better painter models. I'm not very good at painting, but it's one of my better painted models, and I just have no place for her. Alright, moving swiftly on, this is going to be a long episode, so I'm going to try and rush through Cotiers. The worst model design for a while. The model's ugly.
Do you not like it?
No, I hate it. Oh god, he looks like he's wearing a nappy. The old model was awesome. I love my old model. It's metal. It's great. The Cyber Eagle or whatever he is cool. I like the Cyber Eagle. I just don't like how chonky he looks. But everything just looks flat and smooth. I don't like the new model. Don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a normal guy in power armor. Like he looks like a firstborn Space Marine.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm not overly keen on it. I don't think it's like the end of the world. Like some people saying it's I was listening to something on YouTube and someone was saying, "Oh, it's the worst design ever. If this is what it's going to be like, I'm going to like stop collecting the hobby." And I was like, "Wait,
Mate,
Jesus,
just get
we
the
do
old
that."
model. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
that. I'm saying it's that bad, but the problem is
but yeah, it's not bad.
at the time they announced him, the Sigmar boys had done like something cool and some winged, I don't know, whatever. And then Cody came out 40k, and everyone was like, can we get the Sigmar guys doing 40k, please?" Because so like there was that disparity. But anyway, right, let's get into the actual unit itself. You were playing around with Cotiers quite a lot. So what's your initial thoughts on Cotiers? He's still got the same Thunderhammer. He always had 3 attacks, right? He didn't have 4. Strength 9 minus 3
Yeah,
3 is
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Psychic Blast for a D6, 3 minus 1 1, Dev Wounds. That's not bad. Anti-infantry, we like our anti-infantry.
No, that is bad. That's bad for what it was against what it was.
Right, what was it before?
So he didn't have anti-demon 4+, but he had anti-infantry 4+.
Oh, that did he?
But his damage was 2 as well.
Oh, that's way different. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he had D6, 3 3, 1 2, anti-infantry 4+, Dev Wounds, Psychic. And I'm pretty sure he didn't have anti-demon 4+. But anyway, and then his malefic wardings is so much. Sorry about the swearing here. So much worse. It gutted me. So now, when he's leading a unit, that unit has a 6-up invulnerable and a 4+ invulnerable against psychic attacks and attacks made by demon models, which means absolutely nothing to us.
Because 4+ invulnerable mean nothing, yeah.
Nothing. That used to be a 5-up Feel No
Pain. Yeah, it did.
Which was incredible for us. Because you would then layer that with a guard squad. I layered it with a guard squad with all shields. So I'd maxed the number of wounds I had, so I had 5. So I had 20 wounds with a 4-up invulnerable and a 5-up Feel No Pain. And when I ran into demons or I ran into anything psychic heavy, or even world eaters because they were demon models, these guys would be front and center, and I know I'd have 4-up invulnerables, then 5-up Feel No Pains, and they were just so hard to shift.
What about running in with 10 prosecutors? Give them a 4-up invuln.
I mean,
because the reason I say that, sorry, but before, was because you want the 2+ gain CP. That's quite nice, but it's the Cyber Eagle, right? Turn off cover is quality.
But you can't run them with prosecutors unless you're in a Null Maiden's detachment, because prosecutors aren't battle line unless they're in Null Maiden detachment.
So you apologise for swearing. I'm not going to do that. I forgot about that. Oh, yes, that's annoying.
The only good thing, it is dreadful. His new he is nowhere near 95 points. Nowhere near that value for us. Maybe in other armies, but for us. So, the only benefit that this data sheet has got now is the fact that you can ignore cover on a unit within 18 inches.
Which is handy.
You don't need to have line of sight.
That is handy.
Now, we spoke about it earlier. When you layer that with not so much, I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be beneficial ignoring cover for shield host, but when you layer that specifically with talons and that stratagem to increase strength and AP by 1, if you then have bricks of, say, Laris, or you have bricks of Venatari or something, and they're shooting into, say for example, Exalted 8-pound. Your Alaris are going to shoot. You're going to have, say, 5. If there's 5 men in the squad, 5d6 plus probably 1 each because it's blast. At strength 5, AP1. AP2. Ignore cover 1 damage.
It's handy on the invulns.
And then invuln. You're putting them on the invulns. And then they've also got all their spears, which will be strength 5, AP2, 2 damage. Ignore cover. So that's when you start to get cheeky, and if you're going into big units with characters, you're rerolling all your failed wounds. You're hitting on 2s. So it can start to get very effective because you're putting Space Marines on 5-up saves. And if, for example, into Black Templars, you drop a big squad, think of the number of shots into one of those blobs. It'll be, 5 or 6 if you've got a character, D6 shots plus 4 each. Because it's over 20 models. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s with a full reroll, and you're just giving them buckets of 5-up saves. You have 1 damage through on grenade launchers, but it's horrendous. But it's like I said, it gave us access to a mechanism we don't have, which is ignore cover. The problem is it's layered on a unit that's on a character that's horrendously bad for us now.
What about running with Deathwatch Vets, the battle line? So you get a 4-up invuln on the Deathwatch Vets, with because I'm sorry, I'm trying to think out loud here. I'm not. We haven't discussed any of this, but I'm just trying to think like the 4-up invuln's really handy if you can find the right battle line. Doesn't work for Custodian Guard. Doesn't work for, but Deathwatch Vets. I like the sound of that. Because it's basically like giving them back the shields with all the gunpowder that they had before. Because they still got all the damn Thunderhammers with just having played CSM for so long, I know how important or how good turn off cover is, especially in the armor content meta. So if there's a way of getting that on a unit with a 4-up invuln, I might look into that further.
Yeah, I mean the problem is that's when you're doing 195 points. No, Deathwatch 100 points. Yeah, so 195 points for the privilege to do that, and it starts to get problematic because then you need to if I'm going down the route of Talons, I'm going to do 195 points on these, and then if I want to do the Terminator Bomb, I'm going to do another 400 points on the Terminator Bomb with a captain. All of a sudden, you're over 500 points to get target one unit and not have cover on. It's great, nuke that unit, but that's over 500 points to do that trick.
But it's tough enough that you won't get hit back, and if you take, because I'm reading it live, so you can still take the 2 Deathwatch Thunderhammers, which is cool. You can take. Is it 1 flamer? Or can you have 2 flamers? Where are you?
I think you can take 1, so I'd take, normally, if I was doing a 5-man squad, I'd do a frag cannon and one of the flamers, and then I'd do 2 big Thunderhammers.
Yep. And then you take your Xenos Blade probably with Dev Wounds. Yeah, you probably take your Xenos Blade. So, just thinking out loud, you got a decent combat unit that's tough enough with courtiers, who's got his flat 3 damage Thunderhammer. You're going to have, looking at it, 3, 6, 9 Thunderhammer attacks, 6 of those with Dev Wounds, or Grant hitting on 4s, whatever. But it's not going to be a unit that sort of falls over, and it's a handy ability. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. There's a way of getting some CP back. There's a way of getting. I wouldn't necessarily take a transport with it, but the Cyber Eagle is awesome.
I mean, it's worth noting though, he only gets the 4+ against psychic attacks and attacks made by demon models.
Oh, valid. Yeah. Sorry, 6+ in all. Yeah.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, it's not a 4+ invulnerable save; it's a 6+ base against 80% of the meta.
There are interesting models that have demon keyword though. It's like the Avatar of Cain has got the demon keyword.
Anyway. I can see where certain matchups it'll be good, but generically where we're talking about competitive character, he doesn't. It's a no-go because he doesn't add. He doesn't add enough to be able to compete against the other characters.
Again, it goes back to how strong some of the other characters are. I don't know. I just, if you love the model and you want some sort of cover, I think I think there are some options to explore, but I appreciate the point that 10% of your army into a unit that sometimes will be situationally okay to turn off cover, probably not what you want. Okay, moving on to the next one then. So that's the high level Inquisitors. Why have you frozen? Great, my thing is frozen. So that's the high level Inquisitors, and I will try and skip forwards when OBS decides to play ball. This is good. This is professional right now. I'm going to talk over it. Yeah, no, it literally won't respond. So happy days.
Just leave it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's there. It goes. Right, my keyboard works. My mouse doesn't. So moving on to the assassins. 4 assassins sheets. I think my high level summary, and obviously I'll let you have your thing. The assassins are awesome. There is one standout, and I think it's the same one that you'll have as a standout assassin. But we can get to that. But what's your initial thoughts on the assassins?
I think they've done a really good job with them. I would have liked something different on the Vindicare.
Yeah.
But overall, I think they've done a good job. I think they. I mean, I'm looking at them all now in my new book, and I like that they've done the look and feel of them. What more to what I think they wanted to do, or what they should be based on the lore.
Yeah.
I think they've overtuned the Eversaw. I think they've overtuned him quite a bit. I think they've done a great job with the Calexis. However, I would have preferred them to given him a little bit more in terms of shooting. And Calidus, I think they've done a great job with kind of controlling her abilities and kind of. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one because if you were to say you have to have one, I'd say then the Eversaw.
Yeah.
And for those listening, I'm sure people are talking. The Eversaw gives us something that we only have really in a sister squad, and that's the Scout. The Calidus gives us infiltrators, but the Eversaw gives us Scout 9. Then you can move 9 and add 6 base when you do your once a game overkill. So all of a sudden, 18, 24-inch move. Where the real benefit is, this guy, if you throw him into say for example, coming into the Blood Angels meta, which is I think where we're going to go, this guy is a marine killing machine.
Yeah.
He's going to have 9 attacks, hitting on 2s with sustained hits 3.
Yeah.
Anti-infantry 3+, precision, AP 2 damage.
Yes,
this guy's going to absolutely nuke.
It's on average something like 11 hits, 8 wounds on the anti-infantry 3+, -2 that you can snipe out a character with. Yeah. It's scary. It's once per battle, but that's scary. And the range is much higher.
Insane. Yeah, I mean, to be brutally honest, I'd probably throw him in on the, and I think the maths is still good for him to kill the Marties.
Really?
Yeah. So then all of a sudden, the big Death Company blob doesn't have -1 damage. I'm not sure if that's a thing in the new codex, to be honest.
It is -1 damage. Yeah. I was watching Winters earlier, so the Marties have still got that. But so he's expensive though, right? He's 130 points, 120 points.
125.
125. Straight down, slap down the middle. I think he's expensive for that point level. He's a scary missile that you lose.
Yeah.
I think he gets back his points usually, but if you go and wipe out a 5-man in Intercessor squad, you don't get back your points. What does he kill that matters? Does he kill Custodian Guard? 9 attacks, anti-infantry 3+, it's going to be 8 wounds. You save 4 go through. He only kills 2 guardsmen. So he's really there to get rid of a character, right? So how you play him?
Yeah, he's there to get rid of the.
1 wound models, he'll go through.
Probably. Well, even 2. I mean, I would look at like what's in my list to do, right? And say for argument's sake, I'm going into a let's do your faction CSM, right?
Yep.
And I see 5 raptors or
Yep.
5 warp talons.
Yep.
I'm going to know, right? I know exactly what he wants to do with those warp talons. I'm just going to go in and nuke those warp talons. Or I see a dark commune over there. If I kill his characters, his accursed are so much squishier. Gonna nuke them. And I think it's more about using him to lay the foundation for your go turn.
Yeah, I
by
think you're right.
removing a key ability from your opponent. It's like, it's very easy, watching all these competitive channels and stuff to kind of get really caught up on a trading and stuff like that. And as Custodes, like, our trades are
Always
absolutely crap.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely horrendous. So I think it's not about trading point for point. It's about trading. It's about trading kind of like in terms of what impact it has on the game.
So.
I could be talking rubbish, but
no, it's interesting because I love the Eversor. I've always loved the Eversor. I think he's a cool character. He's insane, and I think this data sheet really does sum up how great he can be. But the points level is where I've got the problem, because he's a throwaway piece, and if he's there to kill a character and then die, Greyfax does it for cheaper, right? Usually. Yes, you've got to take the guard squad. But she's not a slack in combat. With a guard squad, so with a guard squad, the guard squad is still powerful and strong, and she can still snap out characters at range. I think you're going to get the best out of him better than I would. I'd probably charge him down the throat of somebody, lose him, and then I'm down the trade, and hopefully I've got the character. I think you could probably screen him out, though, because you can screen out the scout. Yes, he can move 15 plus in advance, so usually 18 with a charge. But he still can't walk through models. So, and with precision, you have to still be able to see the model you're trying to kill in combat. So if he's on the other side of a wall, you can't see the model, so you can't precision. I think he's a finesse piece.
There are definitely matchups where he is not going to be as effective, but it's more along the lines of, so for example, the way I'm thinking about it is my hardest matchups with the list I'm running are matchups where they have sizable amounts of infiltrate.
Yep.
And they're going to block that anyway, right? But the point is that if I'm playing into something like Drukhari, for example.
Yep.
Drukhari are cheeky at the moment. All of a sudden, his scourges have got to be well back. His scourges have got to be right back. If he doesn't have infiltrate and I win the roll off and I go first, I'm going to move up. The Beastmaster is not going to stop me. And then all of a sudden because I'll move before the Beastmaster. So all of a sudden his scourges are right at the back. His scourges have got 24-inch range or something.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry. They move a long way, yes, but I don't have to worry about them getting into easy range of my vehicles or whatever. So
if somebody has infiltrate, do you think you start this guy in deep strike and rapid ingress him in? Because you can then put him down when you need him. Okay.
It depends on the faction, yeah. Because I need my rapid ingress for other stuff.
Yeah, you need it for the Wardens with the Blade Champ or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your take on the 4? Who's your favourite?
So, it's hard to disprove the Calidus. She's a tried and tested badass, right? Come on. You just skipped over the you skipped over the Calidus. I think the Vindy is really interesting. I loved the rules for him. I loved was it Deadshot? Yeah, Deadshot's amazing, right? Being able to ignore lone op. I wouldn't say lone op's a massive thing at the moment. It was right back at the start, but it going to 18 inches. Having lone op though, having something that can sit on an objective and continue to shoot, great. But I also am very aware, having used to use 2 Vindicators back in end of 8th, I think it was, how much a one-shot model misses. He's also 150 points, and that's too many points. I don't like 150 points for him.
It's horrendous.
Points. It feels like a real misplay there. And one shot hitting on 2 is great, but that's a 16% chance of missing.
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking, because there's so much line of sight blocking in this game.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, he doesn't have anything which is shoot around corners. I get it. If he lines up a character, pretty much that character's going to die, right? But fundamentally, it's still.
So, I don't understand why he doesn't have anti-infantry.
Does he not?
No. He's got dev wounds, ignores cover, precision, but he hasn't got anti-infantry. So, like, 150 points to not have that. And yes, shield breaker once a battle when selecting a target. Fire shield breaker until blah blah blah. Add 1 to the wound roll, and any successful wound is a critical wound. So, into any character in the game, pretty much, is wounding them on 4s into like big stuff, and 2s into Custodes characters with dev wounds, D3+3, right? But that's still not enough to take out Custodes characters.
No, I mean, especially you just pop your fort from the pain against.
Exactly. So D3+3 looks really scary, but one shot 150 points, that's too many points. So really like the datasheet, don't like the price point. I remember, I think it was you told me the points, and I was like, yeah, never mind. Yeah, not doing that. I've not read the Colexus, so you said something about the Colexus. What's good about the Colexus?
Oh, he was in my list until the last minute.
Really?
In my list till the last minute, before submitting. But so the Colexus is. I think they've missed a bit of a touch with regards to his shooting and combat. I think they probably could have beefed it up a little bit. Fair enough. It's pointed against against psychic units.
Yeah.
But this guy's, in the lore, this guy's supposed to be an animal against. Psychers. Even non-psychers, right? Even non-psychers. He's supposed to be like an absolute monstrosity. So, like, if I look at it, I like the fact that he can drop 3 inches away. I really like that. However, if he drops 3 inches away and decides to shoot, if he's shooting into a non-psychic unit, it's only 3 shots. And it's anti-psycho 2+ assault precision psychic assassin. So it's 3 shots, hitting on 2, strength 5, AP2, D3 damage. I mean, it's not good enough, to be honest. I would have liked him, you compare him to the Eversaw and his output, I would have liked the Colexus to have 6 shots, and then if he's shooting into a Psyker, 9 shots.
Or the damage goes up. So it's less than the damage.
Yeah, instead of D3, it's 3 damage.
Yeah.
Because it's not dev.
No.
So it's anti-psycho 2+, but it's not dev.
No.
It is in his combat, but it's not in his shooting. I like his Soulless Horror, Battle Shock, within 9, and you've got a -1 for the test, or 2 if you're a Psycho. We have other ways to get Battle Shocks now, and I don't think this model... I mean, the way I was going to use him, I was going to drop him 3 inches away, pop the grenade strat, and then shoot.
Yep.
And if I come up against a psychic army, he's with the grenade strat and shooting, he's probably going to wipe a 5-man strike squad, probably.
Yeah, definitely. 6, 5,
which is fantastic.
5 at -2, 4 up in Vuns, 3. Yeah, you probably get 4 of them. Oh, wish I was
Yeah,
Dev.
so 4. And
I wish I was Dev. Come on. But in combat, he's got 2 up, feel no pain against their strike marines. Hit them back.
Yes, little tip here: if you're running him, use your because precision is not just into characters, right? Precision means you choose who you're targeting, so you can precision down a non-character model. You say, "I'm going to hit the guy." Correct me if I'm wrong. That is how it works, right?
I thought precision was only characters. Hang on.
So precision, you can target, like, say for example, I'm going to choose to go into that um, special weapon. You can do that, right?
I don't know. You fill in. I'm about to look something up. Precision. There you go.
Well,
Weapons of
the
precision.
idea here is if you were say
Each time an attack is made with a weapon successfully wounds an attached unit, if a character model is visible, it's only in characters. The attacking model's player can choose to have that attack allocated to the character model, so it's not into special weapons.
Oh, balls. Ignore what I was going to say. I was going to say target storm bolters.
Yeah.
They're in Grey Knights are the only ones that aren't psychic.
Yeah, got ya.
Yeah, but yeah, he was almost going to go in, but in my opinion, it's really a twin cost between the Calidus and the Eversaw.
Yeah, and I think the Eversaw. So the Eversaw is a weapon, right? I'm just going to go back to him. Where are you? The Eversaw is an absolute weapon. He's an absolute beast, and 9 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, and with sustained hits 3, so it's guaranteed 3, which is amazing. -2. If you can play him correctly and you don't lose him, he'll go through squads. There's a squad gone. There's a squad gone. I like him. I just think that if you misplay him, you're going to be 5% of your army down, and the rest of your army won't be in a position necessarily to make up for his loss. Like he's almost a thing to me where you like throw them into something to slow them down. They're stuck in the open. They hit you back with whatever's left or shoot him, and then they're out in the open for you to get a kill back. I understand the piece. I understand what he can do. I need to see him doing it. I don't think I can get the best out of him personally.
You've also got to look at it. He's got a 9-inch move,
and the 9-inch move is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so he can do a 9-inch move and action.
True.
So, for example, if you get like a cleanse and you've got your opposite an area of the board that you know your opponent won't be able to get angles around and doesn't have a combat unit in the vicinity, you can throw him up to there and just put him on that objective and do actions.
Yeah, it's valid.
Come out and take it, and then you can throw him into that, or you can, 15-inch move him across towards the middle, and then charge and get into a real juicy unit. So there's different ways to use him if you don't get the scout.
Don't forget that his +6 to move doesn't take away from his advance.
No, it's instead of, so you can't advance and do the +6 to move.
You sure about that? Oh, it's because it's a normal move, isn't it?
It's
no. It's because it's a normal move. That's why. Yeah. Because you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, an advanced move is not a normal move. So.
Yeah. All right, we've whizzed through those. Is there anything else you want to focus on here? I think the Vindies probably going to sit on shelves for a while. I think the Calexus, you're right. The damage output, unless the meta shifts massively to a psychic, you won't really see a Calexus. So it's still the Calidus versus the Eversaw.
Yeah, and like I said, really think about after a couple of weeks your lists with regards to facing Blood Angels, because I think they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on their detachments, they're horrendous. So I think that's a different
one. The Blood Angels is next week's episode.
The Calidus and the Eversaw are good counters into both in different ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Good counters into them.
All right. There's 2 other things I want to pull out here, and then I want to talk a bit more generally about other things that aren't covered on the data sheets I've selected. So, 2 interesting things came out of Imperial Agents. One was a brand new character, which we've not seen before. I think that's the next one up. And one was something that you started talking about, and I want to dive into that in a bit more detail because I think people might find that interesting. So the first up is the Navigator. Navigator, brand new model. How many points is he off the top of your head?
75.
So that's expensive, more expensive than Greyfax. But the 12-inch Deep Strike Denial is incredible. Being able to be like, nope, you're coming nowhere near my objective. Fantastic.
Yeah. It is great. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's, to be brutally honest, it's why I ran the Inquisitorial Henchman.
Because of the Mystic.
The Mystic. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I couldn't think of it for a minute. That's why I ran that. However, flip that around. I'm looking at it. He's toughness 3 wound model with a 3 up invulnerable save.
4 up invuln.
He's got a 5. Oh, sorry, 4 up invulnerable.
A 3 up invuln. Absolutely take that. Jesus. Yeah.
This guy's gonna die to any indirect.
Yeah. So I think the intention is that you run him with like Voidsman or something, but I don't know why you would.
Well, then all of a sudden you're paying 100 and
yeah.
You'd be paying 150 points for something that a 60-point unit gave you before.
Yeah. Absolutely valid. I think he's a weird one. So you went out and bought the model before you even started, like before the whole thing came out. I was like, oh, cool, you got the model. And then I saw the data sheet and it was a bit like, okay, so he's nothing in shooting, obviously. He's nothing in combat. I didn't realise it was 75 points. 75 points is expensive. And then a 12-inch Deep Strike Denial. It's nice. I think there's better ways to spend your points.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a really stupid Null Maidens list that I want to run, and he's one of them. Even though Navigators in the lore hate Null Maidens.
Yeah, because they're the psychers, aren't they?
They petitioned. Yeah, they petitioned to have them like exterminated.
You just like watching the world burn. You're like, right, these two things hate each other. They're going to now sit in a rhino together and try and get on. Come on, guys.
Well, the whole principle is that with Null Maidens, there's specific lists they will do well, and into certain armies they will do really well, like demons.
Yeah,
which is quite fitting, to be honest. Grey Knights, they'll do really well.
Yeah.
So they complement psychic heavy factions, which is why they really complement Null Maidens. With predominantly Custodes, they don't add anywhere near as much value as other HQ choices. I mean, what's your thought on them?
So looking at him and looking at what I'd want him to do, I would always run a Rhino, Sister's Rhino, and put him in the extra slot, right? If the opponent doesn't have indirect, maybe I deploy him on my home objective, and then I've got that covered. If they've got lots of deep strike, then he definitely comes out. But otherwise, I'm happy for him to like run up in the Rhino, get out on the objective. He's only OC1, but he might be able to do an action or something else like that. They can be attached to anything, can't they? Is that not what?
No, they can only be attached to Navy breaches and Voidsmen.
No, but isn't any character able to get into any Rhino? Is that only Inquisitors?
I think that's only Inquisitors because they have the authority of the Inquisition.
Oh, is that the reason?
Ability. Yeah, this guy is just literally a leader, and he goes into Imperial Navy breaches or Voidsmen. He can't go into a
Null Maiden Rhino.
Suppose he could potentially go into a Chimera.
Yeah, but then you're having to. So my idea was like you wouldn't have to pay the tax to put him somewhere else, but you'd have to pay the tax to put him somewhere else. If you're taking Sisters in a Rhino or something like that, Sisters of Battle in a Rhino Chimera, whatever version, Immolator, and there's a slot. Then maybe he but it's that sort of aspect. You never attach him. If you need a 12-inch denial, you've got that. If not, you've got an action monkey piece with a 4-up invuln that somebody has to then commit to trying to kill. Yes, it's annoying, but if they've got no indirect and they've got a bunch of deep strike, he's a useful piece to have sitting on the sideline. But if we go back again to what we said earlier, who's he replacing? He's not replacing the assassin. He's not replacing Draxus. In which case, he has no place.
Other armies, But other armies where Draxus or Inquisitors aren't
Yep.
beneficial,
Yep.
he is a lovely little slot in there.
I think so, but
Um,
are you running him by
for us,
himself?
yes, I would always run. So, for example, against us, say for example, if I come up against an opponent who's got one,
Yep.
um, it's problematic for me. The only way around it is to utilize my Venatari to get in there and get him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then I'm using a 165-point unit to kill a 75-point model.
Yeah,
Um,
at the moment, I'm playing with a lot of strat reserve, and if he can get out and stop my strat reserve coming down somewhere I want him to come down, because it's 12 inches away, that's horrible. I think you want to run him in a transport of some sort and run him with just getting
I
out.
don't even think he can go in one, to be honest. Potentially only a Chimera, because he doesn't have any of the keywords. I think you can only literally run him in a Chimera. Um,
No, you must be able to.
so
Hang on.
you can't put him on the sisters.
No, but you can put
Can't
me.
put
You
him
can
on
put
the
me in an
Black
Imperial Rhino. Imperial Rhino. This model has transport capacity of 12 agents of the Imperium. You've got the faction keyword agents of the Imperium.
Oh, okay. So you can put him in Imperial right now.
Yeah, you can put me in an Imperial Rhino.
And an Inquisitorial Chimera. The problem is then, if he's in one, then he's, fundamentally not taking use of his bubble.
Yeah, but the idea is that you then control when he comes out, right? So if somebody hasn't got... So it protects him from indirect if you need to protect him from indirect. And if you don't need to protect him from indirect, he just starts on your home objective. That's how I'm thinking about him.
Yeah.
Because he's still a useful thing to throw up front and then like protect your second objective or push him back from the middle or something, right? If you can get behind that low L in the middle and then push back a 12-inch deep strike and put him on that wall, then somebody still has to commit a lot to get rid of him. Yes, he's T3, but if it's indirect, everything hits on 4s, winning on mostly on 2s with a 4-up invuln and a reroll. He's not going to be the easiest thing to shift. You're going to have to commit more than you might think for a 75-point model. He can do a sabotage. He can do he can do something. I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I just don't know what he replaces.
Yeah. True.
Okay, and then the final one that I want to talk through now, and then we'll talk about a bit more general, is an interesting one. So you said to me, and I'm going to put you on the spot. You went to me, I think I'm thinking about putting Artemis into my list, and I was like, by himself. You're like, yeah. Why? Would you like to tell our listeners what you were thinking about Artemis?
Oh, it's just. Yeah.
I'm just putting you on the spot, mate. Just throw it out there. You can thank me later.
Okay, well, it's about one ability. He's not that good in combat. I mean, he's decent, but he's not that good in shooting. He's 65 points, so he's not expensive. And the thing is that he gets up on a 2+.
Yeah.
The reason I like that is because it kind of forces your opponent then to, if he's doing an action or something, or not even an action, but if he's on a middle objective, it forces your opponent to commit something to either being on the objective or charging him, or getting into a position to charge him if he then steps back up. Otherwise, you get primary points or whatever, which means that it then opens up the opportunity for heroic intervention. So you can layer this guy on a middle objective, and then have a secondary layer of wardens or whatever, or even bikes. I don't know, just behind him, and then you hidden out of sight behind an L or something, and then when your opponent has to charge him to get him off the middle, because they've shot him in the shooting phase, he's back up at the end of the phase. The only way they're going to kill him is in the combat phase. You can then heroically intervene, move in, and it then triggers your option for free movement, and gets you kills, gets you position on the board. That's the only way I was thinking about him.
So I get that. The problem is
it's
it's an 86% chance where he gets 80. 4% chance he gets back up. There's a 16% chance it's a dice roll he doesn't. So it's a big old swing, and I think if you're playing cautiously, he's an interesting piece. To be fair, I didn't even think about the idea that if you get killed the first time, your opponent has to be in a position to then charge him, otherwise he gets back up and you score points. I completely understand that. That's a valid reason. And 65 points is a nice level for him. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. He also gets grenades. Like, don't underestimate the characters with grenades in this, in Imperial Agents, because we don't have characters with grenades, right? So
yeah, it's kind of like a luxury for us.
Yeah, so
it's like a portable 3 mortal wounds where wherever you need it.
Yeah, and up to 6 as well. So like, if you roll hot, and I've rolled 5s, like as in 5 4s, it's having grenades is nice on a 65-point model that has a chance of getting back up. I understand that point. I do understand that point. Do you think you're gonna try him at some point or not really? Have you talked yourself out?
Oh no, I will. It's just if I'm going to be brutally honest here, the reason he didn't make my list is because I can't find the model.
I got him.
I put him away something.
Why do you not ask this question? You know I've got so much Deathwatch stuff. I've got... Right.
I didn't know you had him.
We talk literally every day, Alan, about Warhammer, and the thing you didn't do is, Ollie, you know how you got every model going? Have you got Artemis? Yeah, I got Artemis. Alright, can I borrow him? Yeah, no worries.
Balls. That's why I was changing my list at like 11:30 at night. Yeah, so anyway, it would have been him, and it would have been in conjunction with the heroic intervention tricks that I'm doing, that you know of, with the layer and everything.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So, but yes, that's. I think that's quite a nice summary, as we've been going for over an hour.
Do you want him for the LGT?
Let's see how well this one goes first.
Alright, no worries. Yeah, no worries, I'll find him. I was just trying to see if I can find him in my cabinet and send you a picture just to rub in the salt. The final things I want to talk about are anything else from the codex primarily, right? So I know you've been looking at subjugators and stuff like that. Is there anything else that you kind of would want to call out at this stage? Yeah, it's on the hour mark, so I don't want to go into too much more detail, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in your opinion on this. We had a initial chat at the start of this podcast where we were talking about I said they missed the mark. They missed the mark on the non-character units.
Yeah.
Deathwatch, Sisters of Battle, and Grey Knights. They do not feel like, high-level inquisitorial requisitioned units coming in. They just feel like, oh crap, we need to build a codex, let's put something in. They've really missed the mark with how specialist I think the Inquisition should be.
Yep.
They've tried to give them flavourful rules, but it's just bounced. And I feel really bad for those people who want to run it as a standalone faction. I feel really bad for that.
So, I know of one person in the UKTC, and if you're listening, Si, you're a legend. He ran Imperial Agents all last year. He bought all the models with the Imperial Navy breaches and the Inquisitors and whatever, with the 12-inch bubbles and the 4-up invuns, and he played this list, and he played it really, really well. Now, I'm looking at what the Codex can do, and I'm genuinely interested to catch up with him and find out how he's going to adapt, because... when we were talking about the previous iterations of this, you were able to run that Inquisitorial Henchman with Navy Breaches it was Navy Breaches, wasn't it? Once to do your thing.
Rogue Traders.
Rogue Traders, that was it. Rogue Traders. Once, and then that's completely gone. That's all gone. For Deathwatch, I think it's an absolute sin that Deathwatch have 4 sheets, one of which is Artemis, one of which is a Watchmaster.
It's horrendous, isn't it? Absolutely horrendous what they've done to that section.
Different. Seeing as I got well over 3,000-4,000 points of Deathwatch, I think that's really, really hurtful in terms of people who are still playing it. There wasn't many, but there's still people playing it. There just have to be Black Space Marines now, but I don't like basic Space Marines. Deathwatch were always interesting. They were always fascinating in terms of like playing the game differently and whatever. So I think Deathwatch vets are good still. I still like the datasheet. I think Grey Knight Terminators are just Grey Knight Terminators. I don't really understand this is the battle apart from they make things sticky, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean it's such a shame. They should have given them all new abilities and said
That
and
made them
called it like, I don't
interesting.
know, yeah, like requisitioned,
So,
you know, whatever, I don't know.
so
But they
the
should have done something.
so I collected Deathwatch first, not my first army, but the first of like the Imperial stuff, because I thought they were fascinating. And then I was like, I always wanted to play Grey Knights because I loved it. Order Malleus, I loved Malleus Eisenhorn. I loved what the Order Malleus were, and I was like, cool, Grey Knight's great. And they're not really my faction, but I'm proud of having them. And I've got a box of the, not last year, the year before, you had the Sisters Battle Force with Morven Vale, the 6 Paragon Warsuits, and stuff. And I got that for as a Christmas present. I was like, oh, brilliant! I'll get Hereticus now. It's fantastic. So this Imperial Agents Codex is like, they're not really Ordo Hereticus. They're not really Ordo Malleus or Ordo Xenos. They're just all a hodgepodge. You're never really going to play pure Imperial Agents, not competitive level. And so I struggle to get past the fact that this is a Callus Eversaw Draxus book. That's it. So I'm not even looking at subjugators. I'm not even looking at Navy breachers or rogue trader entourages. I haven't even really read those data sheets. I flicked over and I was like, no infiltrate, nothing like that. These aren't things that replace anything I've got in the custodians list at the moment. And that's a bit sad.
Yeah, I mean, the subjugators are interesting. 85 points for 11 models, 10 of which are to 4 invulnerable save. I like that. I really like that. It gives us an option. Some people were talking, oh yeah, but we can get 4 sisters for 40 points.
Yeah, that's how I think.
Yeah, my response to that is, the 4 invulnerable save is everything. Sisters die too. How many times has someone given me, all right, okay, shooting something substantial into my sisters because I've had to throw my sisters forward and the only target they have are those sisters. So at least with this, there's a possibility of them surviving and giving me some more value. I also like the fact that they fight on death because they're not gonna they're gonna hit like a wet whistle. They're strength 4 AP 1/1
Yeah.
on a 4. They fight on death. I'm not being funny. If a Drukhari unit charges and kills them, they're still going to take some their pound of flesh out of the Drukhari.
So 5 of them would fight, 10 attacks, 5 hits, 4 wounds, -1, 3 go through. They kill 3 Drukhari.
Yeah, 3 Drukhari. So they're still going to force the Drukhari into the realms of taking battle shocks.
It's true.
And that's if they kill them all. So again, they add something, whereas Sisters was just a straight death. Because if 5 Archon or 5 or Incubi or whatever run into these guys, they're gonna have to give me 21 saves to make to kill the faction.
Yeah.
To kill the unit. That's pretty much rolling like spot on, right?
Yeah.
So it's very hit and miss whether or not they even kill the unit. So again, it was a foregone conclusion with the Sisters. Even 8 Sisters, it was a foregone conclusion. With these guys,
I think 85 points is it's not the data sheet, it's the points level. 85 is too high. 65, absolutely, I get it. A fight on death unit that...
Mate, 65 is far too low.
You reckon?
For these guys.
For 10 models before I've been run a T3? Two attacks?
Yeah. It's not so much the ability to... or their output, it's the fact there's 10 of them and a dog. It's the size of the unit. Because otherwise every if you had 65 65 points or 130 points, you could have 20 of these models. Everyone would be running them. Everyone would have 2 units of these.
How much is a unit of the Exaction Squad, out of interest?
I think it's the same price, or it's either the same price or like 5 points more or something.
Because I'd quite like having an Exaction Squad that comes on from Strat Reserve with lethal and precision, just try and take care of a character. That's how I play it.
Yeah, it would only really work into squishy factions, right?
Yeah. But there's enough of them out there, and they've still got executioner shotgun. Is that what they come with base?
I think so.
Oh no, it's Arbates combat shotgun.
Stuff, so.
It's a combat shotgun.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. They're not going to be able to do it. To be honest, none of them are, and that's the problem. The only ones that might be able to will be the breachers, the Imperial Navy breachers. It's just such a shame of what they've done with the really flavorful squads.
And I really like those models as well. Like, I like the models across the board.
Yeah.
Breachers, subjugators, exactor squads are all cool. Breachers are actually
Inquisitorial Agents.
Nice. Yeah.
The Inquisitorial Agents.
Fantastic.
I'm like gobsmacked with what they did with them. The agents, the models are so cool.
Yeah.
And they've just absolutely just turned them into like the most ridiculous unit ever. Doesn't do anything.
I don't understand what they were thinking with this. I really don't.
So to sum it up, characters, great. I think if you're trying to be competitive with Custodes, you're going to want to take 2 agent characters. What those are depends on what your goals are, right? And with the squads, I don't think you'd be taking anything other than potentially a subjector squad or another squad to do your area denial, your deep start denial, and I think that's it pretty much.
Yeah, I think for me, I would take the 2 characters. I'm not sure what I'd take in terms of henchmen or what they called retinue squads. It's a pity. I was so excited for this. I was so excited for this codex to come out. I'm just sore about Death Watch, right? That's my thing.
Well, understandably so. I mean, if you got 3,000 points in them,
I got a lot of points. I got a lot. I bought last year for my birthday, which is almost a year ago, another like 40 vets because I was like, I want every loadout possible I can get for these guys. Yeah, they've never been played. Don't buy expensive models that Gamesworkshop don't want you to buy. And on that bombshell.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining or listening. Not joining, listening. We are almost at 500 subscribers, so that's great. Ollie, do you want to mention what you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm actually finally going to do something to celebrate 500, and if people care and want to do it, I'll create a Discord for us for general chat and lists, and people can come in there and generally talk to each other, and we'll listen in and give our advice and whatever. But at the moment, I think there's been some talk about a Discord, a potential for a Discord, so I'm going to try and get that set up for tomorrow actually, and hopefully publish that out. And people who want to join, brilliant. If they don't, it's absolutely fine as well. Cool.
Well, thanks everyone. Me and Ollie are going to a tournament in 2 weeks. We're going to the Goonhammer. So we may do a bit of a kind of like a recap of how that went. Unless it goes really badly, in which case we won't say anything.
In which case we'll just yell about Blood Angels being broken.
Yeah. So well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll do another one soon.
If you made it this far, please comment below who you're including as your Imperial Agents. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.